I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to be doing a video that's in a collaboration with another Australian artist. She is Fahy Art, and I have linked down her video and her channel below in the description, so do check her out. Laurie came up with the idea to do an artwork in one colour, a monochromatic piece, and I thought, why don't we choose our favourite colours? So I asked her what hers was and she said purple, and mine's red. So that's what we're going to do, our own favourite colours. So I'm going to do a piece today using only red, but we did have the caveat that you can use black and white as well, because if you look on any spectrum, especially if you look on your computer, you'll usually have the white in one corner and the black in the other, and then you will have the spectrum of all of that colour within it. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, I know there are a lot of videos out there of challenges where artists have used every single art supply they have in a particular colour. I looked at all of my stuff. Here's a bit of footage of me doing that right now. Red pencils. Red paints, watercolour paints. So many options. I can't pick. Look at them all. Red inks. These are only a few of the red pencils and paints and things that I have. I didn't even look at the pens, but I did a little bit of swatching of some likely colours. Okay, here's the swatch sheet. I was looking at basically the red spectrum where you have your much cooler pinker reds and going into much warmer ones, and then there's also ones like Venetian red, which is a pigment red 101, and that's a lot browner. Also the alizarin crimson deep is browner. I was just even looking at this just feeling quite overwhelmed, so I grabbed out my Bombay India inks because I've only got a few of those, and immediately I have chosen for this artwork to use these two reds because I think these ones are just a bit too purple for my liking. And I also picked a couple of pencils because I want to do the drawing in a pencil to begin with as well. So I grabbed out a couple of Faber Castell Albrect Durer water-soluble pencils, and these are in dark red and deep scarlet red. I also tried to pick colours with the name red in them, so we've got red and bright red here. And I'm also going to use Bombay India inks in black and white as well. I decided I was going to draw another person today, this time a lady, and she is wearing a crown of roses. It's from a photo I took a few years ago of a model in a studio photo shoot, and she was wearing this really pretty red cloth. So it's a very classical style pose, and I photoshopped some roses that I photographed from my garden into the photo for my reference, and that's what I'm using today. So I did a sketch and traced it onto hot press watercolour paper, some more of that Fabriano paper that I have a large collection of, and I started with a base layer of watercolour pencil in the dark red, and I'm just painting it out with water to get the shadows of the fabric folds and her hair and the roses. I thought this would be the easiest way to begin the drawing, and then I went over it with the inks, and I'm using both the red and the bright red inks together to get a little bit of variety in the colour of reds that I used. The red is a lot cooler of an ink than the bright red, which is much warmer, so together they work really nicely. Because I'm painting the inks straight and undiluted into this, I needed that black to get some shadow in there because the two reds on their own just did not have enough darkness or value. So adding in that black and mixing it in with the red, you can see how that gets a far better value. The red inks are very transparent, and so they layered over the top of each other really well. As they are India ink, as soon as they dry they will not budge, so you can layer and layer and layer to your heart's content and not lift anything underneath. And for her hair, I also did tint her hair red, even though in reality she has black hair, but I wanted to add a bit of a black undertone to get a bit more of a definition in her hair, because making everything red was just a bit too much in my opinion. And here I'm going over everything with another layer of that bright red, and you can just see how much more vibrant it becomes. And so yeah, I had a good time with those. Now the skin was a bit of an issue because skin colour is not just red or pink, it also has yellow undertones, but what I did here is I just diluted as much as I possibly could that red ink, because it is a little bit cooler than the bright red, which would have looked a bit too lobsterish. And now I'm painting in a tree branch or something. I just made this up. She needed to sit on something, and in the photo that I originally took, all of the background and the floor is black, and I really didn't want to do that because this is a red challenge, not a black challenge. And I needed to add some more definition into her skin and get some shadows, so I've coloured out that dark red pencil and I've diluted it onto the board so that I don't get any pencil marks at this stage, because I was just really trying to build up some definition and shadow in her skin. Actually, the dark red worked pretty well for a skin tone, much more than the red ink. The background, it's a hot mess. I made the mistake of just freehanding a bit of an oval there and it's so wobbly, and I did kind of forget that I was painting with ink on hot press paper, and so I did not get the nice blended gradient that I was going for. So I quickly changed my mind and I decided that I was just going to make more like a pop art rainbow circle around here. I don't know what the heck this is, but yeah, it was an absolute train wreck, and by this stage I really didn't want to redo the drawing because I'd spent ages drawing the figure and she came out pretty well, I think, so whatever. My biggest mistake here was painting around the white area in that pinkish colour because it is just far too close to her skin, so I fixed that later. And then you could see that my wobbly lines are really noticeable, especially on the bottom here, and I do spend a bit of time trying to tidy them up. And I went over it again and again with red ink just to build up the colour and make it just really stand out, because there was no hiding it at this stage. Then I had a bright idea to make it look like the fabric she was wearing was dripping into the background, just to join it together and make it have a little bit more sense. Then I went over that branch with more red, and now I am going over with white Bombay India ink to try and get as much of that background back to a white colour as possible. The Bombay India ink was a bit too transparent, and later you will see me using a different ink to fix this. But it worked enough for now, and you can see it does improve it, or at least I think it does. With the background in, her skin definitely needed some more definition, so I'm going in straight with the dark red pencil just to get the shadowed areas darker and make it stand out more from the background. I wonder how Laurie's going with her artwork, and I'm also curious to know what mediums she ended up using. I know she does quite a lot of oil painting, and she does pet portrait commissions, which is really great. And she also did a video a day for World Watercolour Month using watercolours, so yeah, those are pretty cool. I don't think there's any way I could do a video a day. But here you can see I'm going over that background again with Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleedproof white ink, and this was so much thicker and more opaque. I really love this one. So yeah, this turned out a lot better, I think, the second time around. Pity about the wobbly lines in the rest of the circle. Okay, I'm calling it done before I completely destroy that background. But anyway, here's the finished picture. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether you like it or if you think it sucks. But anyway, this is what I got using just these art supplies, so a couple of red pencils. I may not have even used this one, I think I only used the deep red, well, the dark red in this case, so the bright red got used the most, but I did use the red as well, as you saw, and the two of them together work really well, I think. I did end up using the Bleedproof white on top of the Bombay white because this one is much more opaque, and the black is a nice solid black. But that's the end of my drawing. I had a really good time, actually. I had a lot of fun with this one. It was really interesting just working with one colour and one monochromatic palette, and I think I'd like to do it again, maybe with a different colour, blue or yellow or another colour. Let me know in the comments if you're interested to see more paintings with single colours. And I want to thank Fahy Art for suggesting doing the collaboration. It was a really great idea. I really enjoyed it. I hope you had fun with your artwork as well, and I can't wait to see it. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and thank you if you already have. And I will see you all again really soon. Swatch you later. Bye!